I'd like to get on with the program because we have exciting speakers here and you're here for a reason and we want to get started. Obviously, I'm excited to see all of you here today and to see the breadth and various businesses that the Chamber has in its world, and it's so exciting to see all of you here participating and taking advantage of the great programming we offer. The Chamber has so many resources for you, information, education, obviously great networking opportunities, and I see some of you shaking your heads because you participate. You're involved in committees, you're attending events, you're attending seminars such as this, and yes, indeed, believe it or not, you create and have wonderful friendships come out of your participation. And I know for me, before I became president and when I was just a member, I can't tell you how wonderful it was to make the friendships that I did along the way. And it really benefited me both personally and professionally. So I hope you continue to take advantage. And this is one of the great programs we offer here, the Entrepreneurial Assistance seminars that we offer throughout the year. And this one is always a very popular one, so I think we'll continue to do it because we know the world of social media is evolving and ever changing, right, on a dime every day. So it's a lot to keep up with. So I'd like to introduce our moderator for today, Debbie Wagner. Debbie is a successful entrepreneur and president of the Graphic Edge marketing design agency here in Doylestown. Her career spans over 40 years in the Bucks County area. As a graduate of Moore College of Art, trained in illustration, her expertise includes but is not limited to packaging, labels, fine art, logos, branding, advertising, marketing packages, web design, social media, and much more. Deborah is very active in our chamber as a vice president on the board of the Chamber Board of Directors, and she also has been a co-chair of Women in Business and Bucks Fever Spectacular, and an ambassador for the Chamber, and a member of many other various committees. I feel like Debbie should have an office here at the Chamber. She's such a great friend and partner and has offered us and our new team here at the Chamber so much guidance along the way. I'm only 7 months in, guys, so do you believe it? Sometimes it feels like 7 years. Deborah has been involved with helping today's youth as a member of the Central Bucks School District Accreditation Board and a judge for the advancement of student and art and design. I could go on and on. She has an illustrious career, a great family, and as I said, she's a great friend and partner here at the Chamber. So without further ado, Debbie, you want to get the program started?
I would love to. Thank you, Teresa. So, for a little bit of fun here before I introduce Amy, when was the first social media post made? Does anyone know? Okay. It was May 1997. It was called 6 Degrees. The first recognizable social media site in the format we know today was 6 Degrees, a platform created in 1997 that enables users to upload a profile and make friends with other users. Just a little fun fact. So, I would love to introduce Amy Berridge, social media strategist, Bucksmont Social Media and Marketing. Topic: current social media trends, a little bit different than back in 1997. A little bit. Amy is a social media strategist and content creator with 14 years of experience in the industry. Her company, Bucksmont Social Media and Marketing, was named Best Public Relations Marketing Company in the region by the Bucks County Herald for 2022. She studies social media trends daily and has produced numerous viral videos for her clients. Amy specializes in local and organic social media marketing, but she is also a licensed marketing partner for several national brands, including Unleashed. Will you welcome Amy Berridge?
Thank you so much. I'm going to stand off to the side so I can kind of see my presentation here. So thank you so much, Debbie, for that warm welcome. So what I do for my clients, part of what I do, and it all kind of starts from strategy. So I actually study the platforms every day, which sounds like a lot, and it is. It's literally my life. But if you don't understand the trends and kind of all of these new innovations that are coming out on the platforms, you're always going to be behind the curve. So today I'm going to just talk about some of the current trends. I have the top 4 platforms outlined, so we will go through those. And first we want to talk about how the platforms are ranked. So this is actually really interesting. So all of these stats are as of May 30th was the last time I went through this, just to make sure everything's current. And if you can see, or if you want to take notes, actually at the end of my presentation, there's a QR code that you can put in your email, and it will actually send you a copy of all of this instantly. So you don't have to write if you don't want to. So this is actually very interesting to me. So if we're looking at the top 4 platforms for business, number 4, so not even in the top 3, is Instagram. Instagram used to be king, and this really hurts my heart to say because I'm a millennial and that's where we live and I love Instagram, but Instagram's actually the number 4 when it comes to business. It is very important to be on, but it is ranked technically number 4 in terms of ROI for businesses. So that's when I'm looking at these rankings, that's what I'm taking into consideration, how much money businesses are making based on the efforts that they're putting into these platforms. So number 4 is Instagram. Number 3 is TikTok. We'll get a little bit more in depth into all of these platforms. So number 3 is TikTok. Number 2 is YouTube Shorts. So YouTube has actually been outperforming TikTok in terms of revenue generation for businesses. And YouTube, specifically talking about shorts, because you have the standard YouTube that has been around forever that we're very used to, and they are the longer landscape videos. They can be any kind of length, but the YouTube Shorts is specifically a vertical short form video. It is 60 seconds or less. And it is very similar to TikTok in the way that you would just swipe and scroll through, and it tries to learn what types of videos that you're interested in and what you want to see. So this is basically YouTube's version of TikTok. Is ranked at number 2. And number 1 for business, which is really surprising to me, I never would have seen this coming a year ago, is Facebook. So Facebook is actually the number 1 social media platform for revenue generation for businesses. So something to consider as you're sitting there thinking about what social platforms should I be on, because there are actually more than 100 different social media platforms, and you should never try to be on all of them. But maybe the top 5, if they fit your business and your business model, those are what I would be looking at. So these are the top 4. And actually, we will talk about number 5 later in this presentation. Okay, so basically with Instagram, everything you do is ranked by the platform. So that means if I create a story, if I do a carousel post, a static post, if I do a video, the platform is taking into consideration several things behind the scenes. They all call that the algorithm, and they're ranking your content to see who's going to see it. So that's kind of important to know. With Instagram, what you want to do is you need to create content of value, and you do need to use a variety of different post types. There are a lot of different post types on Instagram. You can do regular static posts, which is just like one photo. You can do what they call a carousel post, which would be multiple photos. Or even small video clips in there as well. You can do reels, which are the short form video. You can actually do longer form video. It doesn't have to be capped at 60 seconds anymore on Instagram. And of course you can go live. So let's talk about the actual trends on Instagram. So what's hot right now? Definitely organic content. People don't want to see overproduced, what I like to call cold corporate content. It doesn't resonate with them. It's not going to build a relationship. They're very uninterested in it. They're going to scroll past your posts if you're doing that. Stories are very hot right now. If you really want to be successful with stories, posting about 3 stories per day is the sweet spot in the algorithm right now. I'm happy that it's only 3 because it used to be significantly higher. It was close to like a dozen stories per day, which is a lot because you're a business owner. You don't have time to sit there and program essentially what's the equivalent of 4 posts per day just for one platform. So I'm kind of relieved that it's only 3 stories per day right now. I say right now because, you know, they could change their mind later this week. Every Friday, Instagram rolls out what they call hidden gems. They're not hidden gems, they're new features. But they just give it a nice title to make it sound like they're not changing the platform constantly. But it is really kind of an ever-changing, constantly evolving platform. And collaborative posts are really big. So Brittany, actually, since she's in the room, I'll use her as an example. I wasn't going to, but since you're here, Brittany. Brittany's actually really great at this. You'll see her collab with different businesses and organizations. So basically, when she makes a post, she will invite a business, like say if we were going to partner on something, she would invite me as a collaborator. I get a DM in my box that says I have a collaboration request. I can hit to review it and accept or reject it. If I accept it, then when her post shows up, number one, it shows up on her feed, but it actually shows up on my feed as well. And then anybody who's seeing it in the news feed, they're seeing it on both of our feeds. It would say Brit Around Town and Bucksmont Social Media. So it has like that nice collab. So it's a really great way for you to get in front of someone else's audience and for them to get in front of yours. So it's kind of a mutual benefit there. So those are the 3 hottest things happening on Instagram right now. So next social platform, TikTok. Okay, so TikTok is interesting. Thanks to the pandemic, this has really become a volume game. If I've never been on TikTok and I'm gonna hop on this platform all of a sudden for my business, there's so much noise on that platform. You have to post 3 or 4 times per day to really have a great chance of going viral. Which is kind of a shame because it is a really great platform for small businesses. So many small businesses blow up and get discovered and they sell out of products because they never anticipated anything this big happening to them, and it's all thanks to this platform. So it is 3 to 4 per day, technically, if you've really never been on the platform before and if you really want to get the most out of it. Can the average business owner do that? Probably not. That's 120 videos per month. I mean, who has time to make that? You would either have to outsource that to somebody on your team or a company like my company or any other digital marketing company that specializes in TikTok. But realistically, if you're doing a YouTube short or you're doing a reel, you're doing something on the platform, just repurpose it. You can put it up on TikTok. Will you get the max benefit? No, because you're not posting 3 or 4 times per day, but you will still get some benefit out of it. So what's hot on TikTok? It's honest, organic content. Do you still see the fun, trendy dances on TikTok? Sure, but people really want to hear your story. They want to know about you and your business. And that's really how you build a warm connection with anybody on any platform. But I'm really happy to see TikTok taking this turn because for a long time it was just really flashy, gimmicky stuff, which is not really fun to make and is not, in my opinion, a good representation of your business. I mean, it's not really you, unless that is your personality, but that's not everybody's. So honest, organic content is what we want to see on TikTok. And so a lot of people are like, well, how do I actually get my video seen? You want to use text on your video. So even if it's just like a title screen that says what you're about to talk about, like top 3 things you need to know before you buy a home in today's market, something like that. But you can make your video in any, video editing software that you're happy using. However, the text should be added inside the TikTok app itself using their text feature because they actually scan your video for certain keywords using their text feature. If you're using a text feature outside of that, like if you're using Descript or captions or something like that to edit your words on the screen, it's actually not going to pick that up. It's not going to hit on the keywords like it would if you're using the in-app feature. Okay, so YouTube Shorts. I actually really love YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts, a lot of people are just now hearing about, which is kind of funny because it's actually been out for more than a year. When YouTube rolled this out, they just didn't do a huge release on it. They just kind of discreetly released their own version of TikTok, if you will, which I think was kind of smart on their part because it let them kind of work out the kinks. For the people who were plugged in, it gave them kind of a head start getting comfortable with the platform. YouTube Shorts right now is about 65 billion views per day. If we look at that number back at the beginning of January and December, it was only about 30 billion per day. So the platform's growing very quickly, and that is just Shorts. That is not taking into consideration the longer form video that you see on their platform. So one of the reasons I like YouTube, so Google owns YouTube. And let's be real, Google is king of the internet, and they're very self-invested. So if I Google something, the first thing that pops up is a selection of videos, and they're YouTube videos, because they want to promote their own platforms, obviously. So there is an SEO component to these videos that you're putting up on YouTube. So SEO is search engine optimization, if you're not familiar with it. Basically, what I'm naming my YouTube short, if somebody Googles that, my video is going to come up before anybody's website comes up. So if I'm doing a video and I'm like top 10 places to hike in Bucks County, and that's the name of my video, and someone Googles places to hike in Bucks County, that video is going to actually come up at the top before any actual parks or trails come up. So really interesting benefit to using shorts. So in terms of what the platform looks like, what's hot right now, so trendy meme marketing, which is interesting because while that style of marketing is kind of hot across everything right now, this is really the only platform where we're seeing a boom in the views in terms of video. So really interesting, and I've actually seen that with my clients. For example, I have an IT consultant that I work with. So while he's a great time, it's not necessarily the most entertaining industry, but there are videos that they're doing where it's a hot take on, current events. Maybe we're using something, because The Office is still trending, maybe we're using something from The Office or whatever the case may be. Those videos are getting 5,000, 10,000 views easily. So really interesting what we're seeing there. Now, will that always be the case? Probably not. That's just kind of what we're seeing right now. So if that does fit your brand, this is something you probably want to hop on sooner rather than later. What else is hot? Value content, specifically tutorials. People need to learn how to do things. Now, granted, that is hard to do in 60 seconds or less. But I can walk through somebody turning notifications on an Instagram in under 60 seconds. So if there's something that you can teach somebody, like one hack you need to know to XYZ, something like that. Don't make it too complicated where you're trying to explain, three, I would say more than three. I can explain 3 things usually in 60 seconds, depending on what the topic is, but anything more than that is not going to fit in a short. So any type of value content. So that's kind of what we saw on Instagram. People want to learn things, and they want to hear, it's going to brand you as an expert. So it's something that your followers or that anybody who stumbles across your video is going to find value in. And that's also going to make them subscribe and follow you, so then they're going to see your future videos. And I hate to say this, but even with shorts, we're seeing the clickbaity cover images, which is usually something over the top, and it's like, top 3 things you need to know right now. Something really absurd like that. So if you want to upload a cover image for your video, that is what's trending right now. Not my favorite, but that's kind of always been the trend on YouTube, and we actually see that trend in the longer form YouTube videos as well. So Facebook, so this is our #1 platform for business. Facebook is actually more complicated than you think because there's just multiple ways to use it for business. So you have your actual business page, which I'm sure everybody in here has a business page for their business. But then you also have your profile, and then there are also assorted community groups. So what's hot? It's Reels, Reels, and Reels right now, because if I was uploading a Reel maybe a year ago on Facebook, I would be lucky to get 300 views. For the most part, it was just kind of recycled TikToks where people were not even removing the watermark, which is a big no-no. It was just literally recycled content. But since they did their algorithm change, so probably since November, we've been seeing a big push behind videos. And I have tested this out myself. Well, I tested it on myself first, because I don't test things out on my clients. But my clients are seeing the same results. In January, I put up some Reels where, honestly, they were not edited that well. It was literally 30 seconds per video I spent, if that. And they're at 1.5 million views, 900,000 views. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess there is something to this algorithm change. And I'm seeing that with my clients, that they're actually videos that we thought would be really great performers on Instagram, they're tanking on Instagram and really performing well on Facebook. So I know a lot of people would have previously discounted Reels on Facebook, but this is actually the hottest thing for your business right now. What types of videos are performing well? Educational content, again, that's content of value. So I'm an expert in my field. I'm going to explain something that I'm an expert in. So that could even be talking about your product, talking about your services, what your organization offers. Obviously, you know that better than anybody else does. Content that evokes some kind of emotion. So you can tell some kind of heartfelt story. You want to make people feel something because then they're going to feel something towards your business.
2 minutes, Amy.
Okay, meme marketing is still very hot. And again, organic content of value. So very similar to what we're seeing on the other platforms. I just want to talk about LinkedIn real quick. This is my bonus platform. So this is actually technically ranked number 5. But everybody in this room should be on LinkedIn. If you're a part of a professional organization, you should be here. But LinkedIn is now becoming a space for creators, whereas creators were never on their radar previously. They've had creator mode, for almost 2 years now. But you're actually seeing creators coming to this platform to create content specifically for LinkedIn and the professionals that are on it. So this is really a great platform for getting fundraising or creating referral partners that are good for your business. What's hot? PDFs, because then people can download it, they have something from your business. And that's a different media type than what you see on the other platforms. So PDFs are really hot. Carousel posts have never really gotten a ton of traction here before, but in the last 4 months, we are seeing a pickup in that. Video, audio events, which is a brand new feature, which is kind of cool. It's like going live, but you're not on camera. It's just your voice. It's like a live podcast. So really cool and less intimidating for people that are afraid to be on video. So that's a new feature. So if you're going to try it sooner rather than later because you'll get a nice algorithm boost from that. And again, content of value, because that's the theme that we're seeing on all of these, and marketing as a whole is that people, you need to give them something that they find value in. So whether it is a heartfelt story where they're going to feel something towards you, or a tutorial or some kind of tool for them to use, that's the type of content that's getting the best response. Just keep in mind that trends are great, but make sure they apply to your business. If they do not fit your business model, do not try to force it. If you scan this QR code, you can put in your email, and then there's like a short delay of like 3 minutes, but it will email you basically a copy of my slides.
Very good.
Squeezed it in there barely. Good thing I talk fast, right? Do we have time for questions? We're going to do that at the end.
No, it's questions now.
Oh, okay.
If anyone would like to, okay.
Questions.
A question about the YouTube shorts.
Yes.
Do you post those to your regular YouTube channel?
So,
It's just a different format, or is it a different place where you post?
do you usually use the web-based or do you use the app?
The web-based.
Okay, so it's just like uploading a regular video. You need to make sure that you put hashtag shorts in the title. And with shorts, you only get, I can't remember if it's 120 or 180 characters, but it's short. You don't have a lot of, well, it's short, so you don't have a whole lot of wiggle room there. I like using the app because it tells me what my character count is. I can't remember if it does on the web-based or not. But when you upload it, as long as it meets the criteria and you're using the hashtag shorts on the website, it will showcase it as a short. And when you're going through your channel, looking at all of your videos, there's like a fancy little S in the bottom right corner, and that lets you know that it's a short, not a regular video.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes.
I assuming the demographics on Facebook are changing. It was now number 1. I mean, I was always led to believe it was people my age.
Yeah, so
I can't imagine it's number 1 now.
while there are still a lot of Gen X and baby boomers on there, we're starting to see a migration from millennials. Typically live and die by Instagram, right, Brittany? You love Instagram. I laugh because if Brittany and I are going out somewhere, she's like, let me look for a restaurant on Instagram. She won't Google it, but she'll look it up in the social, which is kind of a generational thing. But ever since they've done this algorithm change with video, and Facebook has become more video friendly and more video heavy, we are seeing younger users on the platform. Definitely a lot of millennials. I would say Gen Z is not quite there yet. They still kind of live and die by TikTok, and like things like Mastodon or whatever the trendy new thing is that's coming out. But I think as long as this keeps the momentum that it has, you will start to see, particularly the business owners, moving towards Facebook as well. Any other questions?
This may be too much to answer right here and now, but if you're someone who's not doing very much on social media, maybe just Instagram and Facebook static posts, is there a good plan for how to, this is kind of overwhelming, there's a lot of places you can go.
If you shoot me an email or you can text me, that comes directly to my phone, I can sit down and help you do that, because there is kind of a formula, and I actually have another PDF I can send you that kind of walks you through creating a social media marketing plan, which is different than a regular marketing plan. The social media kind of sits inside of that. It's very, like, I see you laughing because you know what I mean. It's like, it's very complicated. But there are some steps that can kind of help you outline some things, because before you jump on any platforms, you do kind of have to do some things like outline exactly who your audience is and who you're trying to reach. And then once you have that customer persona for social media developed, it'll let you know which one of these trends you should be on, which platforms you should be on, because it all kind of ties into who you're trying to reach. So there's kind of like some baby steps to take before hopping on to any of this stuff. Any other questions? Yes.
What are ways that you can better reach your target audience?
You said, how can you better reach your target audience? Yes, there's a lot of controversy around hashtags. A lot of people are like, oh, you only need 3 and it should be really broad. Well, if you're a local business, that is a horrible strategy, because how are you reaching people locally? Like, for example, I can work with anyone anywhere, but like one of my clients is a candle shop, and they do not do e-commerce, they do not ship, they are brick and mortar only. So if they're just using generic candles or scented candles or whatever, and they're reaching people in California or in another country, that does zero benefit to them. So I still use like a good 20 plus hashtags. You can't go over 30 because of Instagram. And then YouTube is its own beast because you have a character limitation. But hashtags, like a really solid hashtag strategy, will absolutely help. And also, you need to, before you do anything, you should sit down and actually outline who your target audience is, because that's going to let you know what your primary platforms are and then what your secondary platforms are, because you obviously want to be where they are. So if I'm targeting millennials, I'm going to target harder on Instagram because I know that's where they live. So I don't know if that is helpful. It's kind of a more in-depth answer, but a solid hashtag strategy is very, very helpful. And it's funny because I have a new client and we're kind of gradually implementing things for them. The only thing I've changed so far is their hashtag strategy, and it's new followers every single day. So there is something to that for sure. If you have any other questions, please feel free to email or text me, and I'm happy to answer those. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Amy. That was a lot of information. I think everyone thoroughly enjoyed Amy. Okay, next up, even more information. But again, I have a little fun fact and a question. What is the name of the first site that was created to post resumes and later became the first business networking site? Nope. Okay. I'm stumping everybody. May 2003, LinkedIn. Okay. LinkedIn launched in May 2003. Within the first month, the site had 4,500 members. In the spring of 2011, the company went public and became the biggest initial public offering for an internet company to date since Google. Okay, only one more to go. Amy Decker, supervisor, social media, NJM, and I won't get in insurance, and I won't get into any fun fact there. But Amy Decker is a social media supervisor at NJM Group, where she leads content development, customer service, and data reporting for the company's social media performance, or platforms, Since becoming NJM's first full-time social media employee nearly 10 years ago, Amy now oversees a team of 3 with a goal of enhancing the social media customer experience, and amplifying company messaging through the power of employee advocacy. Today, Amy will provide suggestions on which social platforms are best for your businesses, as well as ways to optimize your customer social experience through customer service monitoring and engaging content. Welcome, Amy Decker.
Unlike you, I'm going to hide behind the podium. I just wanted to start out by saying thank you because I have 2 young kids and a puppy, so I very rarely have anyone's full attention. So thank you in advance. So yes, just a quick agenda we're going to talk about today. I'll give you a quick overview of kind of where NJM started back in 2012 with social media and where we are now. A good, overview of how you can determine which channels your business might want to be on. Some goals for your social team, monitoring, which is very big, social customer service, a few examples of tools that you guys can use. Some of them are free for ways to enhance your presence, and then how to amplify the message that you're on social and how your customers can find you there. So, social media journey. Anyone that knows NJM, we will be 110 tomorrow. We used to be your grandmother's insurance company, but we're getting better. So back before 2012, basically it was like 2 employees kind of doing part-time social media. It wasn't a dedicated presence. Then Superstorm Sandy hit in 2012. And we determined that it wasn't just about what we're sharing. It's about having this 2-way street where customers could come to us. So that was sort of the genesis of the employee being hired, me, in 2014, and I was the first person for this department. As of 2020, we have 3 full-time employees, and it was really fun onboarding the 3rd person 2 days after we went virtual when COVID started. So he's doing good though. So, to your point, don't just be on a social media site because it's available. I made this mistake in the beginning with Pinterest. Everybody was on Pinterest, so I thought NJM had to be on Pinterest. It turns out NJM should not have been on Pinterest. You need to really determine what a valuable and meaningful presence is for your business. So once you define who your target audience is, again, call Amy, guys, call me. Where are they most likely to be? Where are your competitors also? Because you want to be able to play in the same space as them. What type of content are you sharing? Because that also determines which platforms. And how can you easily meet your customers' needs? They have different needs, different age groups, everything, so it really all depends on all of these factors. So, these are the top 5 that NJM is on. There have probably been like 20 since I started talking that have come out. It's always changing and there's always new ones. But these are the primary uses of the different channels. Now, what we try to do is we come up with a content plan and then we try to adapt the content to fit the format of these different platforms. Rather than coming up with 5 different pieces of content for each of these, we'll come up with some ideas that can be adapted so that they work on all of these different platforms. So for instance, on Facebook, people are there primarily for personal connection. So when we're talking about connecting with them in a personal way, what are some of our policyholder stories? What are some claims that they've gone through where we have helped them? Really appealing to them on more of a human side. We can talk about our employees and, really cool things that they've done in their personal lives. Volunteerism, anything that we can share sort of the human side of the brand. And then when you get to LinkedIn, which is more of the professional side, we can talk about employees again, but this is where we talk about who's been there for 25 years. Who's got a CBCC designation. Anything where we can sort of take the employee side and make it into a professional story. So again, we're using the same type of content, but with a little bit of a twist for this different platform. And of course, job openings. We all know that's where people are kind of looking for jobs, so that's a good one. Instagram, and again, some of this is a little bit repetitive, but it's worth noting. Instagram is, aesthetics. We're looking for pretty pictures and videos, and again, you can use the same type of content. Show behind the scenes of your business and show your products. I was talking to Cindy, basically, we don't have a tangible product. We have insurance. It's not easy to show insurance in a picture or a video, so you have to get creative. If you guys have actual products, use them. photograph them. Have your customers send you pictures of them using your products, like engage your community. Twitter, my personal least favorite, no offense Twitter, but it's less social than the others. But it's a great place if you're posting links to your website, blogs, and again, trends and hashtags. Those are important here, but again, if it's a meaningful involvement. Don't just do it because it's there. If you have something that you can contribute in a valuable way, then you can join the conversation. But it is just totally ridiculous to try to get into something where you have no business being. TikTok. So this is why we're not your grandmother's insurance company. This one has been around for us for about 1.5 years, and it, surprisingly, it's pretty good. So again, you're using the same type of content, but you're turning it into a short form video. So we're showing how to change a flat tire, how to change your oil, things that are related to our industry that we can turn into little nuggets, excuse me, of information. It's supposed to be entertaining. We don't want to be, super businessy corporate, but so far it's worked out really well, and you don't have to have a huge following in order to go viral. So now we want to talk about just some goals. Back in the day, for those of you that have been on social for a while, it used to be about who has the most followers, who has the most friends at the cafeteria table. That was the big thing. Now it's about engagement. So it doesn't matter if you have 1 million followers if none of them are engaging with your content. Yes, she's nodding. We want to post things that are going to get people involved. So, in fact, if you have a whole bunch of unengaged followers, it can actually work against you. Because then you have this whole group, man, I gotta not have TikToks while I'm doing this. You have this whole group of people who are not engaging, and then the algorithm is gonna say, this content is not interesting to people, we're not gonna deliver it organically to as much of your audience. And organic reach has been on the decline for a long time, so we don't want that. So my personal thing is less followers, more engaged is better than more followers with less engagement. So one of our big goals with social is to solve problems at the front lines. So basically if customers are coming to us with issues, we want to prevent them needing to go and then call our call center. So if we can deal with it and have them, be happy, they resolved it in 5 minutes, that's really our goal. And we have actually reduced call volume because of this, because customers are now coming to us this way. In terms of providing valuable information, so it's kind of to her question earlier, you want to look at what are your customers searching for on your website. Go look at the data. What are they typing in? Where are they clicking? And that's the kind of content that your customers are interested in. So you can take that and repurpose it, post it on all of the different sites. And also look at Google searches, when just in general, what are people in your industry looking for? That's the kind of information that you can then put out and share and make yourself a thought leader. So once we have people engaging with a brand, we need to know who they are and where they are. So NJM uses something called Sprout Social. There's some free versions. This one is paid, but it's really like a comprehensive platform where it's telling you in real time who's engaging with your different platforms. You can go and kind of deal with issues immediately. There's also notifications from the business pages. So on your Facebook business page, you can set it up that if someone comments, you get that little notification, so you can go and deal with that. I also highly recommend Google Alerts. This is just an example of what it looks like. This is free. It's not social, but it's really the internet at large. You put in brand keywords, you put in your key stakeholders, product names, and then if they come up on the web, you'll get an alert. And this is good for kind of keeping your eye on what's being said about your brand just at large. Really good to mitigate potential crises that could come up. If you have the bandwidth, get a monitoring team to help you out. So there's only 3 of us in my group. We have borrowed from the corporate communications team, so there's 11 of us. Once every 11 weeks, it's a week and a weekend where after hours, our team is sort of monitoring what's going on, and they can address an issue right away. The worst thing that you can do is have a customer have a question on a Friday, and you answer them on Monday. By Monday, they might not even be your customer anymore. So social never sleeps, very important. Okay, so when it comes to customer service, our number 1 goal is to take all public conversations private, especially when they're, issues that they're having. This is for a couple reasons. This way, our customers are not sharing confidential information, and they're not blasting us and all their grievances in the public eye, because a lot of times, no offense to our customers, but their stories are not always entirely accurate. So we aim to take them offline, but we first want to validate the concern. We hear you. Think about like your personal relationships, right? We hear you. We're going to try and help you. And then we do that. And you want to respond to the angry people. If they're still a customer, you have an opportunity to fix that and keep them as a customer. Now, there is the caveat. If this is a situation where there is no hope, and we know what I'm talking about, profanity or screaming about something, they're no longer a customer, we can sometimes hide and delete those comments. But we have to know when, it's appropriate to really try and keep the customer. And then this is really important to me personally. If the customer comes to you on Facebook or Twitter, try to respond to them there. They're not coming to you that way because they want a phone call. And they're really telling you, this is my preferred method of communication, so listen to them, let them know that you hear them. So I had mentioned a few tools. These are things that NJM uses. Biteable for us has completely revolutionized video. As we know, video is really important these days, and I personally was struggling with how to put video together. We were also using our professional media team, which it was super, it wasn't informal enough and candid enough, and it didn't look authentic. So this way, we have Biteable. It's about $2,500 a year if it's in your budget. I'm sure there are alternatives, but this way you kind of put video clips together. There's stock footage, there's stock photography, there's voiceovers, and you can do all kinds of music and things like that and make really cool videos out of your content. Canva is free. This is a great way to make professional looking graphics. You can design logos, you can do cover photos. Everything is dimensioned for you. So if you need something specific for Instagram, it gives you the square, and you can really make stuff look really spruced up. And then I hate mentioning AI because I am absolutely terrified of it, but I think that we need to address it. Write Cream is just one example. There are a million. You can just plug in keywords and it gives you suggested blog posts and ways to kind of whittle down a big block of text into something engaging and digestible for social audiences. So definitely utilize those. We know the attention span is that. So you got to get people right away. And finally, amplification. So once we have all this great stuff going on, our customers need to know that they can reach us there. How do we do that? Well, company signatures in your email. Put the links to your social pages. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. If you send out e-newsletters, link to your social pages. Company website, right on the homepage. Blast it out there so that when people are coming to you, and this is a great way to get relevant followers. We were talking about having dead weight. We don't want dead weight. If we get people that are prospective customers or employees, they are going to your website. They are basically qualifying themselves as relevant followers. Conversation, NJM did not use advertising for the first 100 years. Word of mouth still works. It's always best to provide a link, but to just say, hey, you had a great experience. We'd love for you to go review us on Yelp. Just kind of drop it in conversation, and that way, reviews we know are very important. Speaking of that, NJM sends out follow-up surveys. So after a claim is concluded, a survey will go out and say, how did you like your experience? Can you rate us on Trustpilot? So Trustpilot, right now, we have over 10,000 reviews, and we have a 4.8 rating. So if someone is Googling insurance and they see NJM with all those great ratings, that lends a lot of credibility. So again, if you have the opportunity. And employee advocacy program. We are launching ours next month. This has been a labor of love for many years. Your employees are built-in brand ambassadors. They know the company, the people, the products better than anybody else. And they are so much more trusted than the brand. So you can take the same content that your brand is posting, ask your employees, recruit a team of employees that can help share that. The reach will be exponential, and the authenticity of it, the audience will just react to it so much better. And that's it. So that's everything. If anybody has any questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Amy. Do we have any questions for Amy? Oh, one back here.
Hi.
Depending on the platform, like Twitter, I understand that engagement is more important than followers. However, when there's only a handful of followers, I want to know how to like optimize the following without having to spend so much money on boosting posts and them getting nowhere.
I think your best bet there is to just try to create content that speaks to the followers that you have and the followers that you want. And by jumping on, getting into the hashtag game is really important there. We keep mentioning that. It's a slow going process, like you're not going to have 10,000 followers overnight, but it's slow and steady wins the race with this. If you're just promoting your content to the right people and also cross promoting. So if you're on different sites, drive people over to Twitter, give them an incentive for following you on Twitter. And it will build up. It is slow, but it will build up, and you just have to kind of experiment with different types of content. Yes?
Do you do a newsletter? And if you do you share the newsletter to your socials, or do you keep that for your newsletter people?
It's a great question. We do newsletters. I believe they are twice a year, and they go out to the whole policyholder base. So, again, they link to our social sites. We take snippets of them and make them into like little digestible nuggets for the different platforms. So maybe like for TikTok, we would do like a video reel of some of the content versus Facebook where we might do like an infographic or something. It really depends where you're posting it, but we definitely try to repurpose content as much as possible because there's so much that we want to get across and so little time to do it. So, yes. Yes.
This question is subjective, and you're probably going to give me different answers for different firms. But if a firm is trying to drive their business forward with social media, what's the minimum number of hours a week that someone at that firm is going to have to spend on that, assuming they haven't hired a full-time person to do this? So I'm trying to understand whether it should be done internally for a small group, or should they be working outside of the firm?
I think if you want it done really well and you want it to be successful, you need to have a dedicated presence. This can't be, in terms of hours, I'm not sure exactly how many hours, but you want someone that can make this their full-time gig, or else it's not going to be as successful as it could be. There's so much that you want to share and so many different things that you need to get from around the company, and honestly, you need to have a full-time presence, in my opinion. Yes?
So I guess it's kind of follow-up to that. How about the return on investment? You mentioned that they have 3 full-time people before they had part-time people, and the change was less people calling the call center.
Mm-hmm.
What other investment or return on investment has NGM seen since they hired it and brought you on board?
Sure.
I'm interested to find out, like, highlights, like, hey, this is what we're doing now,
Yep.
more engagement, more followers. Sorry, I'll answer your question.
No, that's great. That's good. Yes, we've definitely gotten a lot more engagement, and a lot of our campaigns drive to our quote page. So we're trying to get people there, and we've been tracking the metrics there, and we have driven a lot of traffic from like Facebook over to our quote page, and then we can actually see who goes on to bind a policy. So it's been, there's tangible results there. However, what we've been trying to tell our CEO is that a lot of it is brand awareness, and it's, getting our corporate social responsibility message out there. It's not intended to be a sales tool as much as it is really to just kind of make NJM a player in the space. And thankfully, they haven't really asked us to drive like millions of dollars in sales. We might not be far from that. But yeah, the biggest thing I think is driving to the quote page and just really showcasing, the products and services. Yes?
Hi, Amy, thank you for that. Will your presentation be available to us?
I don't have a QR code, but I don't know if I can. Yes, okay, yes.
Okay, great.
It's
Yes.
it's being videotaped, so.
Excuse me, everyone, all that you're seeing today will be sent out to you.
Yes.
We'll email it to you. And
I
again, it
forgot.
will be on YouTube as well. And on our website. We have a YouTube page, by the way, so check it out.
Thank you.
Yes, hashtag Tom's Video Rocks.
Any other questions for Amy? No? Okay.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. All right, we're moving right along here. All right. One more question. Okay, here we go. I think someone will get this one. Does anyone know what SPCA stands for? And you can't answer it. No? I thought,
Society of the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals.
Mandy, you got it. You win the prize. Just the fact that you got it. Yes. A Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals is a common name for nonprofit animal welfare organizations around the world. The oldest SPCA organization is the RSPCA, which was founded in England in 1824, and you're right, Royal SPCA. So there we go, last one, and Mandy Mundy got it. Okay, so now our final person is Cindy. Cindy Kelly is the Director of Communications and Development for Bucks County SPCA. For more than 20 years, Cindy Kelly has been helping nonprofits communicate their impact and raise funds to fulfill their mission. As the Director of Communications and Development for the Bucks County SPCA, Cindy is responsible for stewarding the 111-year-old agency's reputation, expanding awareness of its evolving services to people and pets, and eliciting community support to help save more lives. She relishes the opportunity to turn skeptics and naysayers into advocates online and elsewhere. Cindy also manages online reputation and sometimes has to deal with uncomfortable situations. Welcome, Cindy.
Yes, I think there are some other nonprofits represented in the room too. Great. And so I've learned so much this morning already, and you know, social media is big and complex and a lot to figure out, especially if you're a small shop or you're doing it yourself. And we all kind of tend to have our different areas that we specialize. So I was saying to Amy beforehand, my colleague and I, you know, the data just makes our eyes glaze over, and that's an area of weakness that, you know, we look at the little basic charts and say, okay, it's, you know, mostly women in this age group, and they like to be online here. We'll pay attention to that. But so there's areas we're going to go back and look at afresh. A lot of the work that we do is kind of more ear to the ground type of engagement and listening to our audience. And you know, 111 years, obviously social media is just a brand new component of our work. We didn't really have to worry about promoting animals years ago because everybody knew you go to the SPCA, there are more animals than you can imagine. Our work has changed, our mission has changed, and so we're like in this constant process of trying to get that out there and engage with the people who love what we're doing. So anyway, we're going to talk about online reputation management kind of first, because that's sort of like the groundwork we need to understand before we really get into the thornier, what do you do when it goes a little south in the comments section, or somebody's got a valid complaint against you and they choose to do that online. So we're going to get to those kind of examples as we first take a look at what does it mean to manage your reputation online. Our friend Ben Franklin there, a quote that I think can strike fear into anyone's heart. It takes many good deeds to build a good reputation and only one bad one to lose it. Right? You can do years and years of good work and there's one oops, and what are you going to do with that? And so what we've really learned, so I've, when I came on board 7 years ago, I was a one-person communications fundraising team. There'd been part-time or hired out, but you know, people were kind of covering it as they could. We didn't have a full-time person doing it. So I was trying to do, you know, all the plates at once. And very thankfully, 3 years ago, we hired from within someone who knows our organization, has the heart, the mission, the message, the empathy, all those things, great communicator. And we hired her to be our nearly full-time social media manager. She has some other responsibilities. She does email. She helps out, with a lot of customer service. But 80% easy of her work is social media, and I am so thankful. And she's younger than me, and so we jumped on TikTok faster than if it had just been me. So if you're a smaller shop, think about those things. Do you have somebody internal who just loves this stuff? They swim in it, and they really get who you are? Maybe it's not in their job description, but you need to carve out time for them to do it. All right, so we're going to start with 3 keys to managing your reputation, and then we'll move on from there. I had to slide in at least one animal from the shelter. This is Morty. I call him our chief office cat. If you come down to Lahaska, he's likely to greet you in the lobby. All right, first area of developing your online reputation management approach is don't be the ostrich. Maybe you really dislike social media. You don't like Elon Musk, whatever it is, you'd rather not think about it. You can't afford to do that. I think the 2 presentations already have done a great job of convincing us why we can't ignore that. So what does it mean to listen? You can't be on all the channels. What do you think the channels might be that are fit for you? How do people communicate there? Instagram is different than Facebook. Google reviews are different, for me, what I see, than Yelp reviews. Listen, how do people engage there? That helps you think about those, where to put what content, but also where do you need to be listening for where your audience is you want to talk to. What are they actually saying? Do you have a problem already? If you didn't know it, it might be laying out there for you to see on a Google review, but you didn't notice it from last week. So what are they saying? Or are they raving about wonderful things? I like to use those as feedback loops to our staff. Hey, you're doing this really well, and people are sharing that online, so keep it up, and here's the impact. Man, does that make people feel good. There's no comment box anymore, so use those even as feedbacks for your team. What are they saying? Sometimes people help us identify where we have a miss in a process. We have lost pets on our website, and we were not putting, you don't want to put too much information, because then somebody could come in and be like, oh, well, I saw the details online, so I'm going to say that's my dog because I really want that dog. So you actually have to not reveal the whole package because you want them to prove they're the owner. But people were saying, you're leaving out a vital piece, and we need that. And we pushed back a little, we waited, and then we took it internal, and we said, we need to look at this. And we made a change, and we communicated to them, hey, we heard you, thank you. And man, did we win some friends in doing that. And so man, if you have something you need to tweak, and you're getting that from your folks online, you've got some real strong advocates there because they feel invested in what you're doing. Awareness of how your audience has responded in the past. Return on investment, wow. Again, I don't crunch numbers really well, but I can tell you that when we have a need, we're a independent, local, community-supported nonprofit. We don't get money from the ASPCA or the Royal SPCA or PSPCA, just Bucks County SPCA. So we're supported by individuals and businesses. And as we have invested in truly seeking to cultivate a community and communicate to the people who care about animals as much as we do, they respond. It blows us away. Does anybody remember the Betty White Challenge last year or 2 years ago? Yeah. Betty White, America's beloved golden girl, passed away. Somebody sparked the idea of donate to your local animal shelter. It was mind-boggling how much support came into us. We put out a specific need. We have too many kittens coming in. We ran out of kitten food. And you should see the Chewy boxes come in. We had over 100 boxes of kitty litter. Our FedEx guy changed his route. He couldn't take it anymore. It's unbelievable what people do. Financially, help finding a tricky animal a home. Help finding lost pets and their owners. When people really feel like they like your page, it's a positive place. We have people tell us, your content's so positive. People don't want to go on social media, be bummed out, depressed, grossed out. Like I don't like animal groups that shock me with atrocious. I can't look at it. We tell the hard story, but we tell here's the outcome, and here's why you can feel good. Anyway, I can go on and on. So listen to your audience. What do they like? Speak their language. Come up with a plan. It may not get implemented the way you want it, but you got to start with at least coming up with a plan. I couldn't not use cat memes, right? I mean, it's why social media was invented. Identify a point person. Back to the question we were just talking about. I think that's one of the best things we did staffing-wise is give this full-time task, and then don't kind of look at them and be like, they're sitting on their phone all day. Are they really working? Yes, they are. They are working, you know, and they need to be swimming around in that online community and disappearing for an hour and shooting little videos of your animals and getting creative and doing all that amazing stuff. It's really valuable. So if you can identify a person, it's going to pay you back over time. I know a person who owns a small cafe in Percy. She opened like 3 months before the pandemic. And I don't know who she hired, but I was telling her not long ago, I said, your social media is beautiful. Like, I love it. And she said, I don't have the bandwidth to do it, but I hired someone who manages it for me. And it got her through a small business. One woman got through the pandemic, and I have to think a lot of it is her amazing social media. She dedicated a person to it. She made it work. Posting consistency, we talked a little bit about already. Create that familiarity, confidence, and then people are going to respond when you say, hey, I've got an opportunity or a new product or an event or a need. Standardize your language. That's another thing I think about, especially if you're a smaller shop. What is it that you keep getting asked or, you know, people don't get right or understand about you? Come up with those little snippets that you can kind of repurpose, have in your back pocket when you get asked over and over. Then you also realize I need to develop that into my About Me section, or I need to have a blog post that I can just link people to. So come up with those so you're not like constantly rewriting that same answer. Review and learn, like everything else. Online reputation management is ever changing, and we're learning and never done, and sometimes we make mistakes. An example I thought of for our organization is sometimes we can be prone to say too much. We feel like we owe everybody an answer, and especially when you're a nonprofit, sometimes it's like, well, people, you know, they feel like they have this extra right maybe to know everything. We do animal cruelty investigations, and people, well, what happened to the person, and why aren't you doing this, and are you filing charges, and how many animals, and what was going on in the house? And, you know, they want it, I mean, everybody wants to know, right? It's the kind of world we live in. And so, to be honest, we would struggle with sometimes saying more than we really needed to in this situation. And I would encourage all of us, especially at a smaller shop, look for people around you, organizations around you that are, you're like, man, did they handle that well? Find your models and learn from them and copy what they do. I was watching our district attorney at the time and how he would handle a press conference. And I thought, there's my model. He would always lead with empathy. You know, this situation grieves us. He would stick very closely to just the facts, the actions taken, non-judgmental, you know, this is what we did, this is what we're doing. And then he would, this was always brilliant to me, he would just reassure you that we are doing everything possible to resolve this situation for the sake of the animals, for the people, the whatever. And you're like, wow, we're in good hands. And then, you know, the classic police line, you know, that's all we can say at this time, and we'll update you when we're able to. Well, man, now you feel like they care, they've told me something, they know that I want to know more, but oh, this is like a legit investigation. They can't spill the beans. So once we got that model, because unfortunately we would deal with these cases all the time. They come firing at you. You can't plan them into your scheduler. And you have to come up with engagement and press calls, you know, I'm sure you do this too, in hours. And so come up with that model so that you know how you're going to frame that conversation and you don't feel like I start rambling. Stick to your points. So develop your own tools, copy people who are doing a good job around you. This killed me. You can't trust online reviews. Yelp helped me find a place where cats can get a salad. Social media is hot and cold, right? But we do want to encourage reviews and comments. They might be a mixed bag, but that is gold. That is, a big part of the engagement that we're talking about. I agree. I don't care how many followers, how many people are engaging and sharing our comment or commenting on it. Consumers trust each other, right? I live in a very old house. I probably need to get the sewer line replaced out to the main. And so what do? I ask around construction guys that I know, hey, who do you know, a good plumber in town? Yeah, this guy does a lot of these. I live in an old borough, these happen. And so, call this guy. So I check out his website. It's kind of boring. What do? I go to his Facebook page. Now, this guy does plumbing. It's not cats and kittens, plumbing. But it's a father-son. You can tell the father established this company. He's big on integrity and customer service. His son is coming into it. And the son, I'm guessing maybe, is the one doing his social media. He's taking pictures on the job site. I can see somebody up the street from me who had this new sewer line put in. The yard isn't a total disaster. They didn't have to rip up the porch. I know what it looks like. I don't have a brain to understand, what's this process. He's shown me his product. And, hey, great job, another satisfied neighbor. I'm calling him probably later today because I want him to come over and give me a quote. So anyway, consumers trust each other. And I do go to social media more than websites sometimes. I want to know, what are people about? What are they conveying? That'll give me confidence. Proactively cultivate a community so they can speak on your behalf. This makes me so happy when it happens. There are a lot of community pages out there, and your businesses are probably loving it and challenged by it sometimes too. What can happen out there? It sometimes feels like the Wild West. But when our people that have become real ardent supporters, they will see maybe incorrect statements or falsehoods commented, and they'll come to the rescue of us faster than we got there. Oh, don't take that kitten to the SPCA. You don't know what they'll do to it. And then 3 people will jump in and say, I took a whole litter there last year, and they took care of them, got them into foster care, adopted them, whatever it may be. And so that is just an incredible thing. And even we've built relationships with the managers of community pages. Now they know we're trusted, we're on their side. If they're it's a lost pet page and they're trying to manage that, they don't want people flaring up and fighting on their page either. So they know they can come to us if they have a concern or a question. And they can, count on us to, respect their page. And they'll take down controversial stuff even before we even saw it. Use clear language, always a positive tone. Our words can also get twisted and used against us. I always say people type either really glad or really mad, right? That's when they go online. But we've always got to shake the emotion off when we're composing our responses. Respond quickly. I'm trying to drill this one into our staff's collective brain on a regular basis. If somebody has a bad experience and walks out the door or leaves a review or calls in, I want to deal with it now. You don't want 50 other people to see it and then, no response. Ooh, they didn't respond. But some of my colleagues, people are conflict averse, oh, maybe tomorrow. I'm like, no, give it to me. I want to call now. And especially online because, that Google review, if it goes unnoticed, people might not come back once you've posted your really helpful and correct response. So respond quickly. What do we got here? All right, so, a few more. How many minutes do I have left?
3 minutes.
3. Okay, all right. You can never get enough of The Office, right? Defensiveness. We don't want to be defensive. So we've already talked through some communication issues for what to do when the thorny issues arise. Again, I like to have tools to kind of think through. If you're not familiar with the latte approach developed by Starbucks, I find it to be really helpful. I coach people to use this in their inbox, your info email replies, your phone calls. You might not get as comprehensive in a social media comment exchange because they're shorter, but you can drive that onto a phone call or something and follow through with this. And so it's just a good tool maybe for who your social media person is, or whoever's managing your channels coming in. Listen, we already talked about listening, but really understanding. Sometimes people call us and they say, I'm concerned about da-da-da, and I've been around long enough that I'll say, well, the answer to that is this, but I think maybe what you're really concerned about is this. Somebody will call up, well, what are you going to do if I have to bring my cat to you one day? They really want to know, like, do you euthanize animals because they've been around too long or they're old? No, we don't. I've literally talked to people who said, my friend told me, don't let anyone take your cat to the SPCA. If they die, they'll kill your cat in 3 days. And I said, that grieves me. My goodness, no, we wouldn't. Had this incredible exchange with this person. She came in. I like to invite people in. Come in for a tour of the shelter. I'll tell you more. And by the time she left, she said, I'm going home and I'm revising my will to support your program for cat spay neuter. They don't all go that far, but these are opportunities. You have to switch your mentality from another downer, another little poke in the side, or somebody who doesn't get us. They're opportunities. Acknowledge, own when it's our mistake, apologize. Even if it's you're wow, I don't think I think you said this, it's probably not what you're thinking, it's not what the customer maybe got fully, but that's how they felt. I'm sorry you felt that way. You felt ignored when you came into the lobby and nobody greeted you or offered to help you. I said, oh man, that is so not what we aspire to be. It's supposed to be a welcoming place. I'm so glad you told me. So you acknowledge, you take action. I'm going to talk about our staff and remind them, hey, you need to be in tune to who's walking through the door. Everybody should feel welcome. And this is what I'm going to do. You tell them what action you're going to take. Thank you so much for bringing this to my attention so that we make sure it doesn't happen to somebody else who walks in. And then the E, I've heard different things. End well. Encourage them to come again. End well. Well, there you go. I didn't plan that.
Okay. Any questions? None?
I have a question. Should you call a person, your customer, who left you a review, and it's still good, it's 4 stars, but the description is all nice and happy, but yet it was 4, not 5. Did you make a phone call?
I don't know that would prompt me to make a phone call, because this is why. I'm one of those people that might leave a 4-star review on purpose. Because if I go on Amazon, I don't even bother to read the 5 stars and the 1 stars, because they're sort of everything's roses, everything's terrible. I honestly want to know, what did the 4-star people say? They're probably going to tell me, I love this product, this could have been maybe a little better, but I'll give them a 4. So that's interesting though. But I definitely, anybody that has a 3 or below, hey, if you want to contact us and tell us more about whatever this was so we can make things better. So anyway, that might just be a little bit of a different threshold, because I'm probably more of a 4-star giver. So think of your 4s in a little different way there. Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
What do you use any kind of reputation management software like Sochi or Retencentric or any of that stuff?
No.
So those are real-time monitoring?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Each individual platform?
Well, we are on Facebook and Instagram, and then TikTok a little bit, and swapping the contact among all 3 of them. But yeah, like I said, we're pretty low tech. She's on it all day long, and we're just monitoring the comments and things as they come in. We've looked at some tools and yeah, we haven't got there yet, but I've got some tools in my pocket to check out.
One of the things that you suggested to do is to proactively cultivate a community
Yeah.
that can kind of have your back. I guess I didn't quite understand how you do that, how you make that.
Yeah. You know, there's different kinds of approaches to that. I think part of that is that listening. What do they like? What do they enjoy? What do they engage with? If we have the kinds of content that just kind of falls flat, well, let's post less of that. We want them like enjoying coming back for more. And so, you know, our folks, they love to see the happy ending. How many adoptions did you have this month? So we do a monthly update. Tell me a great adoption story or like a down and out story. You know, we've talked about emotional things. You know, this animal was down and out. We got them healthy. They have a new family that love them. I mean, you just can't beat the trajectory. And as we do that, more people like to follow it because they just need some good news. And so that helps us cultivate a following. It's also all that sort of social good. You know, they're gaining confidence in us because they're seeing what we do without the use of like statistics or defensive arguments. You're sharing those things, and so to me, you're cultivating your community. What do they want to hear? What do they like? What do they enjoy? What makes them want to come and interact with your content? You know, and yeah, hope that helps.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, let's give a big hand. I was going to say their names, but I think everybody with Amy Berridge, Amy Decker, and Cindy Kelly, they were just amazing, weren't they? Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming to today's event. Remember that it will be on YouTube on on the Central Bucks Chamber, and you can all view it again. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I couldn't see the monitor.
I think we could go on and on about this conversation.
Yes.
It's always a very popular one. We generally run it every year, I believe. So we might do it, you know, maybe again in 2 in a year. I think we can use that. But anyway,
Yes.
I
Yes.
would personally like to thank Debbie and everyone here. Isn't this amazing that we have these resources right here in our own backyard? And thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to come here today, both our presenters and everyone in the group. I would be very remiss if I didn't ask you to follow us. Chamber on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. And we post some fun things. You'll get an idea of the engagement and all that happens within the chamber, the education, the fun, the relationships, and we promote your businesses. So we hashtag you. You know, if we come out to your office, for instance, for a networking event or whatever the reason may be, we're very quick to post, and that's our mission, is to help your business. So anyway, stay in touch, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye. Oh my God.